Howdy everybody, welcome to week 4. Hope you guys that live up north are trying to stay warm. We saw you guys getting some crazy snow. It was 70 degrees here in Dallas and North Texas where I live today. So tomorrow it's going to be 20, but we're not having snow and things like you guys, so be careful up there. In this discussion this week for week 4, we're supposed to discuss the application of elements for romance fiction in our own writing. Romance fiction isn't my chosen genre. I think I've mentioned that many times before. I'm a speculative fiction type person and writer, and as far as aspects or elements that of romance writing that'll fit into my own writer's toolkit, I think there's several I could make work that would not only make some scenes or relationships between characters more believable, but that also help me write those things that are considered romantic tropes in a better fashion. I think the average reader doesn't even realize what a trope might be. They just expect certain aspects in a story when they pick it up within a specific genre. For me, the article that outlined the romantic tropes gave me a few things I think I can use in my own writing and toolbox, as well as lots of other links to chase for more information. I can see myself using the anti-hero because it seems most women like a bad boy. They're easy to write for me as well. I think guys kind of like that as well. Maybe they think about their youth or whatever. The good people having good sex trope, where any past relationship was never as satisfying as the one you're in now, I think can be applied to both female and male characters to make things work on another level. The happily ever after, we've talked about that. It's described by readers and writers as an essential mark of the romance genre. And while that might be the case, it's important, I think, as a writer to distinguish a romance story from other love stories by including the happily ever after. I know watching the Hallmark stories and things, people get give it a bad rap, but I think the happily ever after is a pretty cool ending. As a writer, using the happily ever after or the happy for now ending, where characters are left in a situation or relationship that may not succeed, is an important element to remember. That being said, I still think you can include a happily ever after or a happy for now ending as an element without confusing your reader, even if you're writing in a different genre. The lovable rogue as a male lead character can be kind of desirable as well as off-putting or threatening to the reader. I think it's a good secondary character, but personally I don't know if I'd use him as a lead. For me, the journey of two characters from strangers to lovers is almost a staple of a romance novel. I know it's been around since the beginning, but those familiar tropes breed a familiarity with your readers. And I think the blossoming of a romance from nothing to something is a fairy tale, and it's kind of an ideal for this type of story. The pitfalls that can derail a relationship and the two characters ultimately coming together at the end with a happily ever after ending is a classic recipe for a good romance, I think. As a final thought, when we're looking at a romance arc, it's important to remember to look for a balance when you use the typical tropes, and make sure your story is kind of like Goldilocks and her porridge. It's not, you don't use too many, you don't use too few, but you keep it just right. So looking forward to seeing what you guys have to offer this week, and again, have a great night.